Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PIPCAST 3000, the Starfield hype train something launching game this week edition. I'm Caedo Genesis. This is my co-host BADCompanySarge.
Hello there.
And this is a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about gaming news, and in this particular case, pretty much just Starfield, because it's right around the corner. This comes up usually every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, but of course this is a little bit earlier, so we can do it before Starfield comes out and talk about our hopes for the game, what we're anticipating maybe will be a thing, and also giving us ample time to actually play the game by clearing our plate beforehand.
Yeah.
So
you guys would have got a real grumpy episode if we had to, one day after Starfield is out, it's like, well, time to record a podcast, I guess.
Or we could both just be playing Starfield and then just having like little grumbly conversations while we're playing the game, and then have that be our B-roll and the podcast.
Oh, dear.
But no, we're not going that route. So instead you're getting a slightly earlier PIPCAST 3000 where we're talking about Starfield. So if you're looking for Fallout conversation, I apologize. Starfield is where it's going to be for probably a while, because my channel needs a little bit of a boost, I think.
Yeah,
It's not been great when it comes to making a Let's Play that really didn't do that well. In anticipation, waiting for something more meaty for me to make the thing that keeps my channel self-sustaining and me able to continue doing this full time. So I should definitely focus on that. But if you are looking forward to Starfield, yeah, heck yeah, it's right around the corner. And if you pre-ordered it, the deluxe whatever edition,
yeah,
you get it on Game Pass because it's cheaper, and then get the upgrade for like $30, and you can get access to the game on the 1st instead of the 6th.
That's what I'm doing.
I think that's what I'm doing as well. I think that's pretty much all the preemptive stuff that I needed to say. Also, early on, thank you to my Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose, because I failed to do that at the end a lot of the time, and I apologize, because that's what these maximum tier patrons is part of their tier, and I keep forgetting, and I feel bad. So apologies. You're gonna get a thanks in the intro, so I remember it better. And this podcast is brought to you by the people who support the channel anyway, in that way, and also you listening. Anyway, onwards to the other stuff that we're going to talk about related to Starfield, but beginning with the comment of the cast.
Yep, so from Hermos3602, because YouTube does the stupid @usernames now.
Yep.
I wonder if either you or Sarge will make a spoiler-free review of Starfield. I probably won't be able to buy it anytime soon, but I would like to hear your opinions on it to determine whether I'll save money for it or not. I know usually I shouldn't let game reviews decide what I think about a game, but you guys seem to be good judges of games. We're almost certainly going to like it. Just immediately.
Our jobs depend on it.
Yeah, both of us have, I don't think either of us are going to be swayed that much on our actual opinion of the game because our job depends on it, but we're definitely going to cover it even if we've got problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's shaping up like everything we've seen so far. I think looks positive. I think Caedo's going to be more disappointed than I am. That's my hot take. Yeah, we'll get to that in the topic.
Okay.
But I think both of us are probably going to enjoy it. We like Bethesda games. Like, this is our kind of genre. This is what we go for.
Yep.
Even the Bethesda games that aren't reviewed as well, like Fallout 76, we've had plenty of fun with. So...
yeah. It helps that we were also playing it together, though.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a big aspect.
I think as well it helps that we're kind of tuned in properly, as it is our jobs, and we knew that it was a multiplayer Fallout game that wasn't going to be like the single-player Fallout games. Because that's where a fair amount of people were like, hey, this isn't New Vegas. I thought I was getting a single-player game set in Vegas.
Yeah. Also, treating it as the spin-off that it was, that definitely
Yeah.
helped me personally, because I know what a Fallout spin-off looks like, because I had
Yep.
played
A lot of them,
pretty much all of them
including the
at that
best
point,
one, right?
including the best one. So, which is Fallout Brotherhood of Steel.
Woo!
Yeah, the
Balls.
best Fallout, obviously. First Fallout game to introduce mini nukes too, which is weird.
Oh,
Yeah, they were grenades
trivia.
though,
Oh, okay.
which are way more dangerous.
Yeah. Are you planning on doing like an actual spoiler-free review of the game?
I don't consider myself really good at reviews. I was reminded that I kind of did review games when I did the Games for Fallout Fans countdowns, which is
Yep.
what I was doing. It was basically listing off the pros and cons of these games
Yeah.
and what you could get out of them as a Fallout fan. So I guess those were reviews. I would still say it's not really something I gravitate towards. Like first looks reviews, because like generally people look to those early on in a game's life cycle.
Yeah.
And I more like doing evergreen kind of stuff, like stuff that will be timeless
Yeah.
as much as I can make it. So the guide walkthrough area is kind of where I'm gonna focus, because that's what I'm primarily good at too.
Yeah.
No,
I
and
think-
maybe let's play stuff later, much later.
Yes. Yeah, I think I'm in a very similar boat there. Like, I'm going to be focusing on character builds, probably like some starter guides and stuff. I realised that although we both make guides, I think our specialities are at the other ends of the spectrum. Like, you're much more of a, here is this thing, here is the step-by-step to how to get it. And I'm like, hey, you want to do some cool stuff and be good at GAM? Here's some ideas. So, yeah, I think we're going to be doing that. I will be live streaming on the first day of Early Access, and while not spoiler-free, that will be from the very start of the game, and obviously you can just stop watching at any time, so I'd say that's probably as close to a review as we'll get, but we're both going to like it, we're both going to be playing it.
I mean, in following PIPCAST as well, we'll probably be talking about the game and talking about the things we enjoy, probably first and foremost, and then some of the things we don't enjoy as much as time goes on, kind of like how it was with 76.
Yeah.
Because I like to use our history as a gauge as well. Like, we enjoyed aspects of 76, but there was some very clear issues with the game, and some still remain in our minds. So
yeah. I mean, every big game I've covered, I've been like, here's all the stuff I like, here's the stuff I don't like.
but also I don't like to linger on negative stuff. So I don't know. It may be, unless it's cyberpunk. So it may come across as like a, I don't know, like a pandery thing or something like that. Like if you want something like super critical, I can't stay in that mode for too long. Otherwise I just get bummed out. So I don't know. But we'll be talking about it. So for people that are interested in hearing what we have to say about the game, like that'll be the next few PIPcasts at the very least.
Yeah.
Plus
tons of content on both our channels.
Yeah.
So
and
much.
if we do more, we might do, other thought pieces about the game, like depending on what it is, because we don't know until we get our hands on it too. Just general ideas based on the Starfield Direct and other promotional cool stuff. Hey, how about that live action trailer that they showed? That was cool.
Yeah, I had an IRL friend be like, oh, that's the only trailer I've watched and I loved it.
Yeah. The one that doesn't show gameplay though.
Yeah, that's his entire reason. He doesn't want any of the gameplay spoiled. He's like, he's already decided he's getting the game. He doesn't. He wants to go into it fresh. So he saw a live action trailer and was like, perfect, can watch that, great.
Weird take, actually.
I mean, I get it. It's the same as wanting to avoid spoilers and stuff.
Yeah, well, kind of, but I don't know. When I think about buying a game, I want to see how it plays first.
I mean, he was already sold on it. Like,
okay, all right.
Yeah, I think he may have seen like the original trailer when it first came out. And was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna buy it, and then was like, no more gameplay stuff. Don't want to see it. That's enough.
So getting an idea at the very beginning of like the promotional cycle, and then yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Because I would have been like, oh, have you heard of a Star Trek? puts down $100.
Oh, dear.
Like that's how it worked out in my mind, but I'm glad it was a little bit more than that.
No, I'm also glad that my comment section have stopped referring to Starfield incorrectly.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It took a while, but it's fair.
Good. In our news topics, we're sticking around Starfield. That was probably mostly my doing. It's all kind of Starfield topics. A couple, actually, one that I forgot to add, which is one of the interviews that Bethesda did, and one of the fan favorites of the Direct. But first, want to mention that we have the Starfield release times, versions, and specs all in one place. If any of those are questions that are raised in your brain.
Yep.
In particular, the global release times. Like, I love when developers, publishers do this. They show, exactly when the game will be available in your region.
Yeah.
Without having to calculate it out yourself. Yeah.
Like, they've not got every time zone in here, but they've got a lot of them.
Yes.
Very handy.
Mm-hmm. So, the first thing they show is a global release times in Los Angeles, the Pacific time zone, my time zone that I'm in. It'll be early access on the 31st of August at 5 p.m. Whereas in Sarge's time zone, which is BST, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
British Summer Time.
So, will be the 1st of September at 1 a.m.
Yeah, 1 a.m. Whoa.
For the early access. Yep.
And for the actual launch. It's the same time for both of them, just 5 days earlier.
Yeah. Yep. 5 days difference.
I'm going to be asleep when it launches.
Yep. And then they also have a handy table on the Starfield editions you can get.
I love the sign.
Man, I generally don't like these because it just convolutes the idea of wanting to just purchase a game when there's 4+ options, or in Starfield's case there's 4 options.
Yeah, I think because I've seen so many of these lately, I'm okay with this one, simply because so many of them do it much worse than this.
I think it's the Deus Ex, I want to say like Human Revolution one that really, like, this is way back.
Yeah.
Like 2010s. But they had like the most confusing presentation of the different editions of the game that you could get, where there were guides being published on journalist sites to help you understand what you were looking at from Square Enix's promo of the game, which you shouldn't need that. You shouldn't need a map legend to figure out what version of the game will suit you best.
Yeah, this one at least is straightforward enough. Like, if you want the premium content, premium edition, the premium edition upgrade, or Constellation edition will give you that, and they'll also give you 5 days early access. It's just if you want like the additional physical goodies, like the watching case or the little patch.
It's very interesting though that they didn't. Sorry to cut you off. They didn't mention the way that we're doing it. Which is because this is profit first, of course, which is going the Game Pass route, because the game is going to be available on the 6th on Game Pass for everyone, or you can get the upgrade to premium, so you get the Game Pass version of the game and upgrade it to premium, which is about $30. So you get your one free month or $1 month of Game Pass for $1, and then $30 for the upgrade for Starfield, and you're playing Starfield for at least a month for like $36, which is a great deal. So of course they didn't mention that here, but that's the route that Sarge and I are kind of going for this. Obviously we're going to be playing it longer than 1 month.
Gonna play it for a long time.
Yep. And then it has the PC specifications on this page as well, in case you need to make a quick rush to Newegg, get a new video card or something.
I did get a new video card in anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
The box for it.
I got 2 in anticipation and then refunded them.
What? That's
Yeah, and then refunded them.
Both
That's
of
the
them?
important. Yes,
what? That's such a waste of time.
because 4070 cards will not fit in my tower.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're having
so I would
size
have had to
problems, Caedo.
transplant. I would have had to. I would have had to transplant all of the hardware from this tower into an even bigger one, so I could have a 4070 card that is about twice as good as my current. I think I have a 3070. Yeah, I have an RTX 3070.
Oh, I've got an RTX 4070.
Oh, so you've already got the card that's way better than mine.
I bought it in May. I was like, I'm getting
Nice.
that. I'm splashing out big time.
Yeah.
Did it. And I've got an AMD Ryzen 9 3900X 12-core processor.
Ooh, look at you.
Yeah, which
I've got
is probably fine.
Yeah, it probably is. I don't know AMD very well.
Yeah,
but
the recommended processor is an AMD Ryzen 5 3600X. And mine's got some bigger numbers, so it's probably better.
numbers go up, therefore good. That's what gaming teaches us, Sarge.
Yes.
Gaming also teaches us to listen to Uncle Pete when he talks about Starfield, because he is the marketing guy. I guess. I don't know what kind of bit I'm doing right now. I'm sorry.
Don't.
On you just say don't.
Sorry, carry on. Supportive words instead.
During Gamescom, Pete Hines talked to the host of Xbox On. I don't remember his name. I feel gotta be Henry on Twitter X, whatever. Pete Hines was talking about Starfield. And it's a 13-minute interview, quick watch. If you want more details about Starfield without being spoiled, because of course, the internet being the internet, things are getting spoiled about Starfield.
Yeah.
And once that train starts, it's hard to stop. It can't stop. So if you want some, spoiler sensitive discussion about Starfield and the things that you can do in that game, and Pete more talking about like him interacting with the team, getting prepped for launch time, the stresses that come along with that, kind of hinting at that aspect. Good little interview. Good little look into the developer side, I guess, of things too. I don't know. Was there any, since you watched it more recently, Sarge? Is there anything about this interview with Pete that kind of popped out to you?
Some reassuring stuff about like the size of the game, how different people, he said, in the studio had talked to each other and they played the game entirely differently and hadn't run across the same stuff at all, despite dozens and dozens of hours. He's put like well over 100 hours in and is like, and nowhere near scratching the surface, it feels like. And he spent a lot of time doing things like just being in space or just staying in the city and making sure you could spend hours and hours doing that, which is good to see. Talked about the freedom that their games give, which I think is a huge like thumbs up in Bethesda's column, where he talks about how like lots of other developers aren't really able to quite do the hey, go anywhere, do anything kind of freedom.
Yeah.
Which I could start a huge rant about right now. How much time we got?
You should.
I'll do a mini rant.
We got plenty
about
of time. Do it.
Yeah, so people are always like, oh, I want like choices and freedom within my games. But 9 times out of 10, what they mean by that is they want dialogue boxes with free set options. Whereas Bethesda games are like, hey, you can do whatever you want. And people are like, I've got no choice in here, I just have to do this one thing. It's like, no, you can just go and do whatever. And it's like, no. Dialogue boxes. That's the short version. And it always bugs me.
Yeah, it's the laser focus, especially, I mean, not to throw every Bethesda fan under the bus, which I probably will with what I'm about to say, is we have this superpower of like laser focusing on one particular aspect of a game, and then that makes it the like make or break for that particular, like 76 probably experienced that too, depending on the flavor of the week. that they had to gripe about, or that we had to gripe about. But I think that goes to a problem with associating only dialogue with choices in the case of Fallout 4, where not all of the choices were dialogue based. But that was the easiest place to go to, and unfortunately the dialogue system in Fallout 4 was also viewed negatively by a lot of people. But I could tell you right now that when you do your intro quests with Fallout 4, as soon as you meet the railroad, you can shoot Desdemona in the face. A lot of people don't know that because they just go through the process and thinking like, oh, this is just an introduction to the pseudo thieves guild, my least favorite of the factions in Fallout 4, by the way. But I didn't, for the longest time, I didn't know that was one of the things you could do immediately, like when you have your introduction with them. And you could do that with several of the factions, by the way.
Is it only Preston you can't do it with?
I think Preston is the fallback plan. The Minutemen are the fallback faction, so the game can still function. It's pretty much all the other factions, including, the Brotherhood of Steel, the Railroad, the Institute, like all of them. Like you can do the introductory cutoff point where you just gun them down as soon as you meet them, or you can follow along with their story, which then may set them as essential for a period of time, and then you can take them out again. Maybe later. But I think that but that is a choice you can make in the game, but it's not considered a choice a lot of the time, because I mean, even me as an example, like I didn't know you could do that early for a long time. Not that I will, because I still like some of the content and what it leads me to, like the Deliverer. But I just thought that's one of those things that gets kind of laser focused on as like not choices not being there, but maybe choices are there, just not in the form you wanted them to be.
You're not presented your choices on a platter. You have to kind of go find them and do things. Exactly.
It's been a while since I played Fallout 4, but optional objectives kind of just being like an add-on thing as opposed to like a divergence from the thing. Maybe Starfield's better at that.
I will be interested to see how Starfield manages I can't think of the right word of it, but all that kind of stuff.
I think so too. I thought it was impressive, like you were saying about Pete spending a lot of time in space finding derelict ships and docking at spaceports and stuff like that, and spending time just away from terrestrial missions, which is awesome. And like, if you could be a space nomad, pretty gosh dang cool. Finding different things in space, like what would you find to trade even? Like you'd be going on
blow up ships, get the cargo from them.
Exploring those broken up. I wonder, man. No, we'll get into the actual discussion later. I'm already starting a theory craft.
Oh dear.
But yeah, the interview was good. He was talking about the 150 odd hours that he had been playing the game too, and still feels like he's barely scratching the surface. So there's a lot of game from the sounds of it. Some aspects in Starfield that even become memes already, and that could contribute to it being a lot of game. Man, this segue. Jamie Mallory. Jamie Mallory was one of the people in the Starfield Direct, the one that you may have noticed as the sandwich pirate, or the person that enjoyed making animal-based ships.
Platypus ship.
Jamie Mallory is a producer at Bethesda Game Studios, and she did an interview a while ago now. It was on July 31st, so almost a month ago now, where she does talk about the things that she does for the team, including the wearing many hats that a lot of them seem to reference to. You can kind of get her vibe that we saw in the Starfield Direct also from the interview itself. Like, she has a very energetic just presence that is kind of addicting, I may add. So this is a very interesting and cool interview. I shouldn't have led with this one because the other news thing is an interview as well with Zachary Wilson, who is a senior level designer who talks about the intricacies of what it's like to be a level designer, again, wearing many hats, and also the things that he has worked on, and also people that they have brought onto the team that weren't originally even like skilled as developers, including some of the mod authors that we've seen in Creation Club content, as well as Fallout London. People from those teams that didn't have any like actual game dev experience, and now they're getting like the whole shebang. which is really cool. So both these, like if you like additional context on stuff, I do recommend looking at these interviews. Obviously they're on Bethesda's site, so they're curated and scrubbed of spoilers if that's again something that worries you. Again, like we should have said at the beginning from this one too, like we're not out to like mega spoil things either.
No.
And we resist as long as we can for spoiling things. So yeah, the those interviews are cool. Pete Hines interview, a lot of interviews. And Starfield release things, and you know, fans also work on things. Me and Sarge being fans of Bethesda stuff and making things on it. NukesDragons, I think we just know them by that name now. They have a pre-established, I guess, character build planner and calculator. So you can start planning out your Starfield builds if you'd like. But they did want to let you know, or let us know, that it is under construction. It has a big old sign at the bottom of it saying this is in a work in progress, because obviously even, you know, without looking at spoiler content and stuff like that, because a lot of us want to experience the game, they don't have all the information they need to make a competent build planner just yet. Fully accurate, I should say. Competent wasn't the right word, because it's a very competently structured build planner, because they've done it a few times at this point. But it looks great so far.
Gonna be very useful for me.
I have a feeling you're going to use it a little bit, Sarge. Once in a while.
My current plan is to get a character build out Sunday. So yeah, that's like 2 days. Yeah. I stream on Friday. I potentially stream on Saturday, maybe a bit of a shorter one. I then write it all up, record, edit, upload, Sunday.
Wow.
I've already started pre-writing it and pre-making it in my mind. I know exactly what the character is, I know how they're going to play. Like, I've done this for so long. Making characters is very easy for me.
That's good. I'm so glad for you that... that writing is not your weak point, because it certainly is mine.
I mean, I still sometimes sit there for like an hour just staring at the page, but that happens to all writers.
But something does eventually explode onto the page.
I have lots of ideas, and this isn't going to be like with Skyrim or Fallout 4 where I've already made 50 characters and I'm like, well, I could do this, but I've already done that, or I could do this, but I've done something like it. This is fresh. I can reuse like cliches and stuff.
Yeah, which is good. Awesome. That means we're done with the actual news section.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we can get into the fan hopes and dreams section. I don't know what else to call it. Like, that's what we're calling our topic.
Yep.
Starfield hopes and dreams. Yep. So do you want to just switch off and then we can go into rants if the mood strikes?
I'm not sure what you mean by switch off, but I'll follow your lead.
Like you say one and then I say one on our little lists of things. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good term.
Yeah, switch off just made me think, hey, you want to start a podcast now? Our Starfield hopes and dreams, nothing. And
do Do you want to take a nap?
No. What I want is for traits to interact with other traits.
Oh!
Yeah. So, we've already seen a whole bunch of traits. Once again, Caedo and I have not seen, like, proper spoiler stuff. We're talking about stuff from Starfield Direct. I want to establish that first. So this is stuff we've seen in the Starfield Direct. And one thing we saw was, like, the character builder, and it's got traits which you can choose up to 3 of, which is really cool. And what I want is for the traits to, like, bounce off of each other. Because the ones that stood out to me was, like, there's a bunch of religious ones where you were raised a certain religion. There's ones based around you coming from a certain planet, like Neon Street Rat, where you came from Neon. And there's the one called Kid Stuff, where you have parents in the game, and they're just off somewhere. And I really want those, in particular, to, like, interact. So, like, if you're a Neon Street Rat that was raised universal, and you've got Kid Stuff, then you go to your parents, and maybe they're universal, and they talk about their life on Neon and stuff. Like, I'd love to see some interaction of the traits rather than being entirely independent. Because I don't think I've seen a game, like, interact traits in a non-pure, like, number sort of way before.
Well, it sounds like you need to play Baldur's Gate 3.
I've not played... Caedo, I can't play Baldur's Gate 3. It's too big a game coming out too soon.
Are you leaving it my turn now for the
yeah.
thing? Oh. There's what-if scenarios that we came up with for the previous episode in a couple of occasions, a couple of which I annoyed Sarge with, which we'll get to in a little bit. But one of them was proper crime consequences.
Which I'm not annoyed by.
I don't know why I wrote it that way, because it's hard to say out loud.
Proper crime consequences.
Proper crime consequences immersion.
Proper crime consequences.
Like grounding your ship until you work off your crime with a radiant objective. That's one of my hopes, is having consequences that may not drive you to want to save scum. I have played I've played some games more recently that have the consequences happen regardless of whether or not you get caught or something goes wrong. And I like that a lot. A lot of work is required for that to be pulled off, obviously, but when it is very satisfying to see and experience in a game where the story just kind of keeps going.
Yeah, I do love it when a game lets you fail without just being like, oh, you suck. It actually gives you, like, an alternate path that the game goes down. My best example of this is Middle-earth Shadow of War, where dying in that game suddenly brings a new enemy in, you've got someone to fight, and it's always better if you can make a failure be not necessarily a positive thing, but something that's interesting to experience, rather than just a punishment for the player. Yeah.
Hades is another good example of that. It pushes the narrative forward regardless of if you succeed or fail.
Yeah. I think that is quite a like roguelite sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where that's more incentivized because you expect people to fail more. Whereas a lot of more traditional games are like, oh, you died, checkpoint.
Yeah.
just do it right this time, you idiot. Come on.
Yeah. Ugh. It does depend on the roguelike / roguelite. And Hades is like a masterpiece level of examples, but like whenever a game does make you feel like you're still kind of making progress, even when you have a moment of failure or a moment of, I don't know, sucking. It's kind of cool.
Honestly, I don't think Bethesda's done that great at it so far as well.
Correct.
Like, especially with crime.
I would agree. It's gotten a little stale, I would say, at this point, because it in the Fallout games it usually just devolves to people killing you and then game over state. Or in like the Elder Scrolls case, you can be arrested, but then you just lay in bed and wait for your time to be up, and then you're free.
They give you a jailbreak option.
Or you have one pick and you can get out, maybe.
Yeah. Like the jailbreak's kind of fun, but there's not like much of an incentive to do that.
Yeah. There is like one example I could think of in Skyrim that made a little bit more interesting, and that was the room that you could put in I think Solitude has like a full-on sub-dungeon that you can escape into.
Okay.
This might have been an anniversary thing. I can't remember.
I can't remember this,
But I discovered it way late, and I'm just like, oh my god, there's so much to the Solitude prison, and I had no idea. Because when I get arrested or caught or something like that, I usually just try to run away or bribe the guards or whatever. Like, there's a lot of different ways to get out of it, even before you're arrested. So, or just fight your way out, you know.
Ooh, there's crumbling mortar. Interesting.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's much more interesting than all the others, which is just, hey, open the cell and sneak past them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Sidna Mine in
yeah, Sidna Mine's the one I thought of. No One Escapes Sidna Mine is like a cool quest, and
full
if standard jailbreaks were more like that.
Yeah. So either that aspect or like more creative ways to work off whatever debt you've incurred, because I think that is a cool way to continue keeping it as a game rather than, I don't know, punishing via just like a game over state or having your character sleep it off. It's a little dated at this point, I think. But yeah, I think I talked about working off world and stuff like that, like you being sent without access to your ship off world to do the thing, which can make some really fun possibilities as well, if that were a thing. I would like it to be.
Have that. I'm not holding my breath on any of it.
No.
I'm going in expecting the standard, stop criminal scum, you must pay your fine or go to jail and sleep.
Yep.
But hopefully it will be better. If we set our expectations as just the standard, then chances are it will just be met or exceeded.
Yeah.
Or more like mech or exceeded. I want to talk about the mech house.
You want to talk about the mech house? But that's mine. That's on my list.
It is, but I'm going to be doing a double on my next one.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get your double now, and I'm interested in your.
I get my double now.
House. Yeah.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, so the disappointing thing that was shared during one of the interviews / presentations was that the mechs used in the promo material for it was the one with Emil and Will on Discord. The mechs were used in the Colony Wars. Colony War.
Colony
right?
War. The
Singular.
Colony War.
Singular.
Sometimes.
He made it so confusing how I phrased it.
Yeah.
That like they're not usable anymore. Like they're outdated technology or whatever kind of thing they're going to explain away with in universe. Which bummed me out because I want to pilot a mech. I think most people, especially when you have an open world sandbox, piloting a mech is just an extra feature you kind of would like.
I mean, I did recommend MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries in my 10
know.
games to play while waiting for Starfield.
Yeah, but you can't.
Piloting mechs.
But can you pilot mechs and steal sandwiches from raider ships?
I'm not sure if you specifically steal sandwiches. You generally steal heavy artillery.
But they're not sandwiches, Sarge.
No, but you pay upkeep on your crew, and that upkeep likely goes towards sandwiches. I'm sure there's a sandwich in there somehow. I'm just gonna have to figure it out.
There are sandwiches in MechWarrior 5.
Confirmed.
We just haven't found them yet. Okay, so what I'm hoping is there could be some place, maybe in Aquila City, or something like that, where it is a junkyard of sorts, because I think we've seen some of the like promo animated things. I'm pretty sure one of them took place in the Aquila area.
Yeah.
And showed like various bits and pieces and old ships that you could pull parts off of and stuff like that. Hoping that there's something like that, but with mechs and the ability to have some sort of ramshackle, stacked ruins kind of player home. I mean, it's very much the Fallout mindset for that kind of thing, but I think a ruin mech isn't too far outside possibility.
No,
Because
that's reasonable.
If they're referencing it in little promotional animated things, like, I feel like they will talk about the history and the colony war and stuff like that, and maybe even do a tour type of thing where it's like, oh hey, like if you have one of your constellation companions with you, oh hey, my grandpa piloted one of them.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And maybe I'll have a little blurb in there about the history of the mechs and stuff like that. I just want more mechs. That's it. That's all I want.
I am curious how they'll be used.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're going to be like a big part of anything. But your idea of like mech house, that's reasonable. That's the sort of thing I could see happening. That's a cool thing to do with them. It's a possibility. I'd love it if it's there.
Yes. Me too. However, pilotable mechs, you're super against.
I'm not against, they're just not coming. I just listen to what's said.
You just want to tell me I'm wrong, and that mechs are my worst dream and hope for this game, because I'm wrong. Because you have a personal hatred towards Bethesda mechs.
Yeah, clearly.
I'm trying to make up different reasons for you to be the villain, but I can't. It's really
I love
hard.
mechs. Titanfall 2, Mech Warrior. I love both those series. Great. Anyway, what I want is a unique variant of every basic weapon and armor.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you want as well.
Yeah, I do. I do a lot.
And
You're
additionally, right. I've put in as the second point as well, fixed locations for most uniques. I get that like generic stuff is going to be, oh, you can find it wherever, but I hope that, at least for the majority of the uniques, I'm actually fine with a few uniques just being like, hey, you could come across this anywhere, but I want most uniques to be like, okay, the Headshotter 5000, that's the sniper rifle that's in Aquila City. I want that kind of stuff. I want it to be the case that you, Caedo, can make guides on where to find uniques.
Oh, that's so sweet of you, Sarge. Thanks.
I mean, it's both sweet and selfish. Because, yeah, even if I didn't know you, if I'd never spoken to you, never seen your channel, I'd still want this.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I want uniques that have a set way of being able to get them.
Yep.
And, yeah, if I don't expect every single weapon and armor to have like a unique variant, but I'd like it.
Yeah, I would too, obviously.
Yeah, we already know there's a legendary system, but Daynolds, fortunately, confirmed for you that there are uniques as well.
Yes.
So
yeah, I was very grateful that that was clarified for me, and I just wasn't paying close enough attention to the Starfield Direct.
I've gone through the Direct several times. It's not super clear. I think it's one of those things that once you know what the unique is, it's like, yeah, it's right there. You can see it. It looks different.
Once I know what to look for, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was pointed out to me through the subreddit, actually, when I brought it up as a topic. I don't post topics very much. Usually it's a topic that is something that I want people to engage with so I can get a straight answer. And I did. I got a lot of straight answers, actually. Including screenshots. I rarely get those in answers for questions that I have. Because I need to verify if somebody answers a question of mine, because if I'm going to publish something, I want it to be accurate.
Yeah.
But it was showing like different like scratch marks that like a custom job would have on a weapon, as opposed to like an actual like industry made or weapons grade nice and shiny kind of thing.
I'm not sold on that proving something's unique, because we know there's skins in the game with like the old Mars skin pack and stuff. Which is why I wasn't like, oh, that one looks different, therefore it must be the unique thing. I was like, That could just be a different skin they've got on it.
I mean,
We don't
even
really know the
Daynold
extent
said
of
that they were
yet.
shown in the direct. And,
Yeah, which is
you know,
why I'm like, okay, there definitely are uniques.
yeah.
I trust the person who worked on the game.
Yeah. So, but I know I have an idea of what to look for. Then maybe I should just say that.
Yeah.
So
I would imagine like they'll look different.
and also like the naming conventions, like we'll get used to the terminology used for the different weapons and manufacturers and stuff like that. Once we have our hands on it, we'll know like at a glance, like, oh, this is just a mass manufactured thing as opposed to this is the thing. Because I think I brought up the revolver with superheated rounds to him, and he said that one was one of the ones that are mass produced or not unique. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm glad that I know now. But that tells me that very thing, that I'm going to have to start learning new terms.
Yeah.
And what we may consider to be a unique name is not. So that's going to be part of my homework, is figuring out the distinction just by name, whether or not something is special. Unless there is a graphical indicator of some kind that other games do that tells you something's unique.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, we have graphical indicators for rare and legendaries.
We sure
in
do.
Starfield that we've already seen.
Yep.
So hopefully unique has
The
that
universal
as well.
color coding and stars. Yep. Man, I hope there's actual unique way of showing uniques that way too.
Yep.
Kind
Especially
of like,
if you pick up one without a base variant and they're like, oh, this is just the normal one, I can still sell it.
yeah, okay, yeah, and it can be really simple too. Like that's the thing that bothers me the most, probably. The lack of clear distinctions, because the Outer Worlds did it with their unique weapons. They're different enough variants of known weapons that have a little yellow sun on their icon, and that's all you need to know. Like at a glance you can see, oh, this is a unique weapon, and that's all it has on it. Or if it's a science weapon, there's only a handful of those anyway, which are also unique. So
Yeah.
but it's very easy to tell when you see them that they're a unique thing, and I'm just hoping that distinction is there. That's an extension of the hopes and dreams part that Sarge added, that I want clear distinction, and it's very easy to do visually. Just haven't really seen Bethesda do it yet.
No. We've got real hope for uniques, but I'm also expecting to be disappointed on this part, because I know like a lot of people are like, no, I want the 1 in a billion chance to get the gun I like. I love legendary systems. Screw uniques.
Yeah,
I've seen it too much.
I notice people don't care as much as we do. Also, it's probably because like we've been enveloped by it, and also part of my job is sussing out which things are actually unique.
I mean, for both of us, uniques are super helpful work-wise. You make guides on how to get them. I can be like, oh, hey, here's the specific item you want to get for this character.
Yep. Yeah. So having knowledge of that is, incentivized for you and I. But also for the people that are looking for those things as well. I just don't want to. Here's a hope of what I don't want. I don't want to be the guy that has to go, hey, this thing is really cool. You might find it here. Yeah. I never want to be that guy. Saying those words makes me go, It gives me weird, gross stomach feeling, because I can't.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to even want to do that.
Honestly, that's my biggest worry for Starfield right now. I mean, Pete Hines even said, like, oh, you go to this place and you'll find different stuff from the other person. You won't find the same stuff as me. And I was like, you better not be talking about uniques.
Yep.
But it's also something where, like, the reason it's my greatest concern is because I think it's quite probable to happen.
Yep.
We're in the minority here, Caedo.
We are, and I guess I just gotta live with that. But also, maybe, a lot of here's what I'm wondering is if a lot of the uniques are, if since they do exist, we do have that, you know, told at least, that they are tied to specific quests, and while those quests may lead you to a radiant location, the reward may be the same, which can narrow down, you know, at least where the quest starts, which is enough for me to go on.
Yeah, I think quest rewards is a good way to do them as well.
Yes.
Like, probably better than just finding them randomly somewhere.
But if it just shows up in a chest somewhere, in a certain level bracket, like, that's where I start to have issues.
Yep.
Because even Meridia's quest, the Mimi, a new hand touches the beacon, you can either find it in a random chest or go to her shrine and immediately know where it is.
Yeah.
Which is what I would much rather have. as like a guarantee that we can find it when we want it. Because of course that leads to one of the best one-handed swords in Skyrim.
One of the most annoying and difficult enemies to fight as well.
Yep. Yes, sirree. Man, we talked about uniques for a while, didn't we?
We have. So, Caedo, your next point.
We didn't even talk about armor, but I'll bring up my next point.
Armor's the same difference.
I would like. We don't know much about how we're going to be able to traverse PlanetSide except with the jetpack system.
We do.
Much beyond that is what I'm saying.
No, we know. Come on, say the 2 words. There's 2 words I want to hear you say, so I can just say no to you.
Feet?
No, not feet. Feet is 1 word, Caedo. What other than jetpacks would you want to get around a planet?
Car.
That's still 1 word. In general terms, big scope.
Deathclaw.
Land vehicles. Land vehicles is what I was expecting.
I'm not good at charades when I can't see you moving your hands, Sarge.
I was moving them so much. You want land vehicles, don't you, Caedo?
I want something that's not just a jetpack and not just 2 feet. The player characters 2 feet.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Nope.
That's your definitive.
I'm pretty sure. Like, annoyingly, I can't remember where it is, but I think there was some confirmation that spaceships are like your only vehicle, and getting around on planet is kind of an on-foot deal. I can't remember where it was, annoyingly, but what I did do at one point was in, like, the Constellation Discord, I want to say? Yeah, I think it was the Constellation Discord, where someone was talking about land vehicles and wanting them. And there was a few of us explaining how that wasn't going to happen. And one person brought up that there's a thing where you can only go so fast in, like, these games before it just crashes and dies.
Engine limitations.
Yeah.
That's one of the things.
Yeah, they brought that up, and that was like a good technical point. We've also had like no mention of any land vehicles, no examples of them, nothing like that. I feel like there's been some talk, like maybe not entirely excluding, but at least heavily hinting that you get around on foot and you take your spaceship up to the space and then land somewhere else on the planet. You don't just glide over, you don't have cars that are just going to be everywhere. I feel like there's been enough stuff to counter there being other vehicles, that the chance of there being vehicles is incredibly slim. And you know what? If I am wrong, you can all laugh at me. But I'm not. We're going to be walking around the place.
I'm not only talking about land vehicles.
You're talking about animals as well.
Animals that you may be able to ride around too. Because that has been something in Bethesda games before, where you could ride around a horse.
Yeah.
Which I would like to imagine, more hope and dreamy stuff.
Yeah.
If you get xenosociology high enough, you can just there's like a certain class of creature that you can just befriend and ride if you're on one of the Goldilocks planets. Wouldn't that be neat?
It'd be neat, sure.
Imagine in Fallout 3 you got Animal Friend. You run into Yao Guai that would normally try to tear your face off. and you're just like, hey, can I ride you for a bit? And it's like, okay, and you just ride around the wasteland. Wouldn't that be sick? Be pretty sick.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think you're wrong.
or it was a space Deathclaw, and you put the rockets on it, like I said last episode, and then you fly it into space.
Yeah.
That's my hopes. Maybe a little too much with the Deathclaw flying into space thing.
Do not trust to hope. It has forsaken these lands.
Okay. Well, what else? What else do you have in your hopes and dreams? It looks like your list is running out. It looks like you're trying to quickly type in more.
No, I'm on the final one.
Oh, okay. It's the last one. Okay.
Yep. No sudden backstory revelations. That's what I want. Right now, the backstory looks nice and open. We have obviously the actual backstory mechanic thing where you can choose that. But I've seen it before, where a game halfway through... I mean, Kingdoms of Amalur is a good example, where you have like this big open-ended backstory, you can be whoever you want to be, and then all of a sudden characters are like, I'm from your past, and you were a turd farmer. Haha, I hope that was in your character story.
Yes. The turd farmer's assistant.
Yep.
You made jets for some reason.
Yeah. I don't want this game to suddenly have a thing partway through where it tells you your past. I hate when games do that. I love writing my own backstories. I love them being open-ended. It's what's great about like Skyrim and New Vegas and games like that, where they give you very little info. New Vegas actually did a bit of the backstory being filled in for you with Lonesome Road, but it wasn't too bad.
But it still didn't define what you were aside from a courier.
It gave you some stuff of, oh, you did this delivery at one point.
And like enough. Beyond that, it was still open for you to decide. In previous Bethesda games, particularly the Fallout ones, it kind of railroads you into a family dynamic.
Yep.
And some of us don't want that.
No. Dude, I did my 7 sins build in Fallout 4, and each of them went from bloodthirsty mercenaries who committed horrifying war crimes to then having to settle down to suburban life right before the start of the game.
Yes, I faked all of it. Ha ha ha!
Yep. I was evil the entire time.
Oh ho! What a twist. Yeah, so that's what you're hoping doesn't happen with Starfield, right?
Yeah. I just want the backstories to be left as they are now. Just let me be who I am. Let me create the backstory. Don't feel the need to just suddenly be like, oh, and here's a thing that happened in your past that needs to be done. There's a bit of it with the traits, I think. Alien DNA says, like, oh, you were part of an experiment which gave you this.
Yes.
But
it's a trait.
Yeah, that's a trait at the start, and I can always just ignore the description for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe with the traits and the dialogue options it might hint at some previous stuff, but hopefully none of that will be too strong. Like,
it still leaves it kind of open as a premise. Like they're taking the what feels like the Elder Scrolls Prisoner route, where like your life was that way before, you kind of choose, this is the situation you're in now, and now you get to figure out how to get out of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is cool and very roleplay, and I hope it does maintain throughout the whole story where you get to choose.
Yeah.
I hope that for you and your build's future.
Thanks.
Sarge.
I don't want another Fallout 4 situation where I'm having to just crowbar in this suburban lifestyle. Just let me be whatever.
Let me date Kellogg.
Yeah, why don't they let me date Kellogg? Hey, in my defense, even my video where I saved Kellogg, I was like, you can't date him. That's a bit too much. I was like, you can save him, you can have him as a companion, no kissing. I'm watching you.
No kissing.
Don't you kiss him. Don't you do it.
Don't do it. You can hold hands if it's not weird, but you'll probably make it weird, so don't do it.
You're only allowed to hold hands if you don't look at each other. That's the limit.
If you both find religion and are praying, yes, you can hold hands, but only in that context and with other people.
Oh, that hurt. Oh, that was a bit much.
I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Caedo, what's your next
was
point? Let's move away from
He
this.
has to repent somehow.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he did. I made a whole video on how he repented. It was in a good way.
it was
He
pretty
killed
good.
lots of people. That's how you repent.
Yeah. So off of that tangent,
Yep.
terraforming, any kind. Okay, so
I'm glad
I
you put any degree of it as an
any
point
degree,
after.
yeah. Like it
So
could be.
I've already screamed at you about this.
It could,
Sure.
Jesus. It could be like any like side quest or like somebody's trying to do like a Titan project kind of thing.
Yep.
Like rebooting a planet. Anything kind of along those lines. It could be like guided by a side quest. It could be some tools that you gain on your own. I just want something like that. Because that's always something that's a cool idea that gets often shown in sci-fi where like, oh, can we turn this blasted wasteland into something livable or
Yeah.
something along those lines. And I think that is cool to explore. That's the
Yeah.
word of the game. And I also grew up with something like Spore, where a large portion of space stage is doing this very thing. It is bringing samples of plants and animals from other worlds, adjusting the atmosphere of a planet as much as you can, then spam dropping a whole bunch of life onto it and hoping that it stabilizes.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be that in Starfield, obviously, but that idea was still a lot of fun
Yeah.
in Spore, because you could also drop a monolith and uplift the society, and suddenly your creations could also be a new alien race in space, which was a ridiculous direction you could take it, and you're definitely playing God at that point to an extreme degree. But in a game like Spore, you could kind of just get away with it just fine and go back to spice trading.
Yeah, I think a very small amount of terraforming, be it like maybe in the outpost section where you can just change the land a little bit, like raise or lower heights of some things, or do a tiny bit there, or like a quest thing where it is on a bigger scale but like limited in some way, that I'm okay with. My big concern with this is I've already seen so many people expecting Starfield to be an everything burger. I think we're all familiar with the concept of a nothing burger. An everything burger is the inverse. Some people are like, oh, Starfield's got thousands of planets. I can do literally anything. And it's like, okay, people, there's restrictions. There's so many restrictions. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And I think terraforming is one way you're like, where it can very easily be like, oh, I'll just go around and I'll change the entire surface of the planet from a spaceship, and it's like, no. You're getting a bit ahead of things here.
Yeah.
It's not how this is gonna work.
Spore was a game designed from the ground up to be that. Just a complete procedural sandbox, but it lost a lot of its personality because of that too. Keep that in mind. And then by the time Galactic Adventures came out where the personality was injected back in, everybody stopped playing it. Which really bummed me out, because Galactic Adventures was really good.
Yeah, where Starfield is a Bethesda game.
Yes.
And we know what Bethesda games are like. You're a person exploring this world, or worlds in this case. You're generally not making a huge impact to the environment around you. It's not a large focus. Like, we have a bit of it. We've got outposts this time. We've had, like, camps and half fire and, like, some limited, oh, you change the world, but it's not a primary focus of Bethesda games. But if you're not terraforming, what are you going to use the resources for?
Oh, hey, that's a fun thing.
Yeah.
In Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, due to our freaking limit, if we don't have Fallout first, you can rack up a lot of extra resources that you don't really do anything with. I am hoping because this is a sci-fi environment where a lot of things can be possible that wouldn't be in the rules of other kinds of worlds, ways to utilize resources that you aren't using so much of, or if you have a stockpile of a whole bunch of resources, you can find ways to offload it or get rid of it or recycle it into something else. So nothing really goes to waste or feels like it goes to waste.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool. Or if we're going the people designated at outposts route, maybe some of those outposts could be trade outposts. Similar to how
access.
you could set up trade in the settlements of Fallout 4, and you could, you know, designate certain items to be sold there by just like dropping them in a box or something like that. Be like, sell this, and then the game would maybe randomly or procedurally decide over time, and then you come back and collect your profits. Or because it's you have the space internet, you could probably just have it directly put into your pockets. I don't know. Like if you need a whole bunch of iron, but you have copper instead, you could instead make something out of copper and see how that works. Maybe it has a failure chance. Something like, I'm going a little too far out, but like I think that would be kind of cool. Like not the material that it was designated to be built with.
Yeah.
Therefore, there's a rate of failure or a rate of quality loss or something.
Yeah,
I don't
am
know.
very interested how the whole crafting and research thing will do, because we've only got a tiny look at like the research station and weapon crafting and stuff, and I'm very interested to see where they take that. Interested I made an entire weapon crafting video.
Yeah. We have the gathering resources thing on foot as well. You use a little pocket laser and then zap some iron off of wall and stuff. The outposts can be set up to mine. They already established that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know that a big chunk of the resources are going to go into shipbuilding if you get into that. So
yeah,
there's that.
I do hope there's multiple uses for resources. Because if you're not big into your crafting, but you still set up outposts, you don't want that stuff to just be completely worthless.
Yeah, man, we already had like Wasteland Workshop and stuff like that. Like they went super hard on the settlement building stuff in Fallout 4. So maybe we could have some kind of industrial construction line set up for like, oh, we're gonna craft a bunch of space pistols here. And I don't know, we're gonna supply a war with pistols or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
Sounds like you just want to be an arms dealer, Caedo.
We could be an arms dealer war profiteer in space. Why not?
I mean, I'm on board with it.
And also sell some neon fish on the side, because everybody's got to sell those.
Yeah.
And make sure that they take them to planets that they're, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, organs and neon fish. They probably both come from neon.
Yeah. I am.
I'm gonna guess.
I mean, I'm hoping your proper crime consequences comes true.
Yes.
Being a smuggler could be so much fun.
It couldn't it?
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
So much potential there.
After playing a game where smuggling is like can lead into all kinds of outcomes.
Yeah.
Like,
what game would that be, Caedo?
Don't make me say it.
You have to. We're on the what have I done section now. We got through our topic.
Oh, are we done with that? Okay.
I mean, I've got nothing else to say on that front.
Yeah.
We've done all our points.
Okay, a game that
was a good transition.
A game that you can smuggle a bunch and then get caught with illicit goods and then arrested. Maybe something else happens to you. Kenshi.
Woo.
I played it a lot again.
Yeah.
I set an objective, which is a very good thing to do with a game like this, because you can just keep going if you want to, because the world is huge. The stuff you can get away with in this game is outrageous. Fun wastelandy sandbox that I've talked about a lot. This particular one, I started out with the slave start, which is exactly as it sounds. You are a slave of the Holy Nation, and you are stuck in a slave camp, working during the day and sneaking around, breaking out of your prison cell and breaking out your friends and finding a way to escape in the night and work on other skills that would help you escape properly. So I made me, Nelsar, and we jointly started breaking out other prisoners until we had a nice, sizable group. And then surprisingly, like most playthroughs in Kenshi, you're not the main character. Neither of us were the main character, in fact, but the main character was someone named Alec, who was one of the prisoners that escaped and ended up joining our team after he managed to get out. So who I named King Alec later in the game was the one who escaped to the neutral town nearby, trained up some skills some more, got himself some money, hired a bunch of mercs, and then went to the front gate to distract the guards long enough of this slave camp to allow me and Nelsar to escape. And then that turned into a long, arduous campaign of training up enough for myself, or my character, Nelsar, and King Alec to take on the entirety of the Holy Nation, which is like 4 giant cities as well as a bunch of outposts in the middle of the map, ultimately culminating in going back to that slave camp, freeing as many as we can, and then killing off the remainder of the guards there and putting them in their own cages if they survive. Just a crazy game where crazy things can happen. I liked talking about smuggling, where like some of that did happen in this playthrough, where I went to the swamps, bought some hashish for a reasonable price, and then took it to a city that doesn't like selling hashish or knowing that it exists, and selling it for an exorbitant amount of money. Because smuggling goods is a quick way to get rich in the world of Kenshi as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully also in space in Starfield. Anyway, I could go on and on. I also played Baldur's Gate and also played the Hilder's Request update for Valheim while we're anticipating Starfield, trying to keep it light because Starfield.
Yeah, how was the Valheim thingy?
It was nice. Hilder's Request is a new NPC that got added.
Okay.
She has
Does
3...
she request stuff?
Yeah, she does. She has 3 missions that are, of course, procedurally added to the map seed that you're on, even ones that exist. And you go to those locations. They are elite versions of dungeons. And you go in there, get her goods, bring them back to her, and she'll be able to sell goods from those chests that you bring back, mostly involving casual wear that allows you to spend less stamina if you're doing stuff on the home base, like farming and building and stuff, which is cool. And also a barber setup so you can, change your facial hair if you want to. Are you still there, Sarge?
I'm still here.
Okay. That's what I've been doing.
Okay.
And thank you for asking, Sarge.
It sounded like you were expecting me to have some comment on the hairstyling.
I expected any noise.
Should I just be emitting a low continuous hum?
No, that's why I needed to restart my computer.
Oh dear. Yeah. No, I'm glad Valheim's got some updates. Game sucks and it's terrible.
Whoa! There you go. There's the response I wanted.
The game's fine. It's just really not for me. Yeah.
Correct.
I've not really been doing gaming because, as you point out, Starfield's right round the corner. And I've not wanted to get stuck in on anything. I'm actually going to be uninstalling a bunch of games after we're done recording. What has changed in my life recently, though, is I've got a smartphone.
I don't believe it.
Oh, that's right.
You updated with the rest of us, Sarge?
My sister gave me her old phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that still counts.
It still does count. And yeah, I've been using that since I've been dog sitting. I sent Caedo some photos of a dog.
Those were from your smartphone?
Yeah, I took those photos.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm a wildlife photographer. as well as like a in-game photo mode one.
They're great photos, by the way. Scoob is very photogenic.
Yeah, my camera roll is exclusively pictures of Scooby.
As it
I've
should
had this
be.
phone for like almost 2 weeks now. I've had this phone, and I've just taken photos of Scooby, nothing else.
Nice.
And I've sent them to a few people. It's been fun. I've been doing plenty of stuff on the smartphone. Smartphones are really fancy. You can do a lot of stuff with them.
They are.
One great thing that I've loved is that my daily electricity bill has gone down by it's now somewhere between a half and a third of what it was before, which is lovely. Yeah. Because I don't need to log onto my computer to do a bunch of stuff. I've been able to work on the smartphone. Like, that's been great for me, and very good for my mental health as well, because I worry about money non-stop. I'm that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been lovely. And I've also been playing Shop Titans on it, which is a game I played on the computer a while back, where you own a little fantasy shop and adventurers come in and they're like, I want to buy that sword, please, and you sell them the sword. It's very basic.
That sounds exciting. It sounds like smuggling, but not quite as cool.
Yeah. You own a shop. Like, I like that. I like not being the hero. I like being just the vendor who's like, oh yeah, I've crafted some swords, so now I can sell the swords.
You like being the NPC sometimes?
Yeah. It's just nice and relaxing. It's all based on, like, timers and stuff. But I've already, like, not gamed the system, but worked out how to get well ahead of myself. Like, I'm already earning millions of gold, where I should be in, like, thousands and tens of thousands. Because I was like, okay, if I get this exact item and build this number, then someone on the market will ask for it at 10 times its value, because there's also, like, an online element. And then I can just shoot ahead, and that's what I've done. And I've made way more money than I should for my level. I'm basically ignoring, like, the actual NPCs who come into my shop most of the time, because they'll only play double as much. It's terrible, when I can get 10 times as much. I can sell a standard squire sword for, like, 800 gold on the market, where 160 is the best I'm going to get, and that's going to cost me energy, because I have to surge charge it, Caedo.
Wow.
Yeah. But I figure that's, like, a game I can just play and then stop when Starfield comes out, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you know another one that you could probably play and then stop.
Oh no, what is it?
On your phone? Vampire Survivors.
That's on your phone?
Yep.
Wait, does that cost money though? That's got to cost
I
money.
don't think it does. I think on the phone it might actually be free.
Oh my god, I've actually played quite a lot of Vampire Survivors on the Xbox. I'm quite good at it. I'm definitely not searching it right. You said it, I'm searching it right now. I'm not gonna lie.
If not, it's like $3 at most.
I mean, it is. It looks to be free.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Contains ads. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm probably not going to get it.
Okay.
Because I had, like, so much time in it on the Xbox and so much experience that it would feel bad to go back to the start.
You know, it's funny that I recognize how good it is, even though I haven't played it at all.
Oh, it is really good.
I
mean, I've talked about it on the PIPCAST once or twice before as well.
Yeah.
It's solid. Lots of fun.
I have it on my phone, but I don't play games on my phone really. So, you know, I could get
playing games on my phone.
I could get XCOM on my phone again. That'd be fun.
Oh god.
I've played it on the tablet. I wonder how hard it would be on a screen this small. I don't know.
I could see it maybe working.
It would probably still work.
I briefly installed Magic the Gathering Arena on my phone, and like one card takes up the entire screen basically, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, sometimes they don't quite work the way you want to.
No. But anyway, that's what I've been doing, because I've not wanted to get into anything too much, because Starfield's coming out on Thursday/Friday, depending on where you live in the world.
I'm scared.
We've got like a couple more days of waiting.
Yeah. And it's going to be agonizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay chill this next couple of days. I'm stocking up on food. My plan is to not leave this building for like a week after Starfield is out.
I think so too. All right.
So, I hope everyone's going to watch our Starfield content when it comes out. We need you to.
Yes, please do.
Leave likes and comments and shares and subscribes and Patreon donations and livestream donations and all of that stuff.
Yes. Wow. You did a good outro, Sarge. Maybe just
gimme.
begging for engagement.
Yep. I don't know how this YouTube game works.
Please do the things that keep us going on our channels. And rehash on the thank you to Wasteland Legends Sven and Rose. I swear I'm trying to make up for last episode, maybe the episode before. And the other patrons on screen that are in the credits. You can join the people in the credits if you support me on Patreon, as well as Sarge's credits if you support him on Patreon.
Yeah.
And other stuff. If you want to be a comment to the cast, you know what to do. Leave a comment. And we might use it.
That is how it works.
Yep. But we hope to catch you after next Sunday on the next PIPCAST 3000, something along those lines. Until then, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.